In 2021, 16% of Bay Area residents were found to live below the poverty line, which has caused housing insecurity to be one of the biggest issues faced in the San Francisco Bay Area and a main driver towards homelessness. However, the experience of homelessness is twofold. There are those who survive within it, and then there are those who work to understand and eventually end it. This is one of those stories. All right, man. Well, um, here we are again, another episode talking about black homelessness in one of the most wealthy cities in the United States. I got a brother here with me, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself. But what's your story? Tell the people who you are.
Hello, everyone. My name is Trey. I'm from the Bay Area. I've been doing research on homelessness for the past, I would say, 6, 7 years in San Francisco and all throughout California. My pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. I'm glad you're here because I feel that you may be one of the first researchers that I've been able to contact that was willing to talk about the plight of black people who are experiencing homelessness here in California, specifically the Bay Area. And this is typically known as like Techville. You come out of here, you make your money. You know what I mean? But then you have so many people who are experiencing homelessness at a level that I personally have never witnessed, even, living on the East Coast and then being in different spaces and places. You have a level of homelessness here that I feel affects everybody, but specifically when it comes to the stories and the voices of black people that are going through this. I don't think that those stories are actually told. So how did you get into researching homelessness just in general?
I kind of fell into it. So back in my undergrad, I was part of like a psych and law lab. So like my first background was in criminal justice. That was when I first got into this. And then after I got into criminal justice, I was doing some research with psych and criminal justice. And then that segued into criminal justice and homelessness because of the intersection between those two, especially with color. So then,
Go ahead.
Oh, and then from there, from that, it was homelessness and HIV. And then from there, it was homelessness and people who are black. So that was kind of like my segue into it, I would say.
And what did you see out there?
Out there on the streets?
Like, what is a day in the life of a researcher? You, as I am, are a black man, and we deal with and see a lot of our own out here dealing with this. So, what was a day like for you when you're out there doing the research that you do? And if you want to, you can delve into the type of research that you've done.
Yeah, so I would give like a little timeline. So when I first began, it was more people who are already part of programs. So they were homeless, but they already had some kind of help already. So I talked with them and I coded like their interviews.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like my first intro into it. And then I didn't see the big picture, but I heard their stories. I felt their energy. I felt their pain. I felt all that. And then from there, I began to work more on the streets of San Francisco and people who are homeless, who are doing injection drug use. So then that's why I saw. I was on the streets of San Francisco, all over downtown, Hunters Point, Tenderloin, whole area. And that's why I saw that before I got on the street, I thought that homelessness, people were always on drugs. Out on the streets, I saw that people were intelligent, smart, just capable, can hold conversations, they have personalities. They were people. And I'm like, wow, like I had some of the best conversations like with people who are on the streets, from all the OGs out there who are older.
The
OGs give me like life games.
So the different people that you met out here in the street, real people, let's get into that for a minute. Talk about the realness of the people that you saw and that you researched.
Yeah, I mean, like these were fathers and sons and daughters and aunts and grandparents and granddaughters and grandsons, out here. People who went to college,
Yeah.
who had full crazy lives, who were employed at some point. Some were CEOs at the top of the food chain, had two-parent households, had a beautiful family, and then life happens and they happen to be where they at that time. So that's what I mean by there are people, like they they have a name, they came from somewhere,
Hmm.
you know, and they can talk to you about all of this. So it really helped me personify, you know, people who are homeless, because before I saw them as a broad, okay, but you know what? There's so many nuances, and even the term homelessness, because not everyone who is deemed homeless is homeless. Some people,
Wow,
some
not everyone is deemed homeless is homeless.
yes, some people like they love feeling connected, to Mother Earth, Earth. They like to feel connected, with nature, to have a sense of community that can come from being unhoused. Sometimes it can be crazy. Sometimes you can find like real community,
Hmm.
people that have your back, people that have been through similar things have you. So I'm like, wow, like sometimes on the street, I saw that there were families, people who came from different parts of the state, of the country, of the world, but they were all here at that one point, and they're a family. I'm like, wow, this was crazy. So that was back on the streets of San Francisco, and then now in my role now, I conduct this as part of a team all over California. So I've seen it here in the Bay Area, SoCal, NorCal, Central Cal, all over California. So I've seen with my eyes, what homelessness is like.
What do you think is one of the most impactful experiences that you've had as a black man and a researcher and intelligent out here trying to really engage and allow people to tell the story of how they arrived at this point?
I would say first, um, I'm one of the few black men out here on the streets conducting this, and I see how non-people of color talk to people who are black who are homeless, and then I'll see how they kind of open up and are open to exploring more about and sharing more about their life and history with me. So I'll say that part is beautiful. Just seeing them with somebody who's non-black, they'll talk with them, engage them. But then with me, like we'll be talking, about their family and stuff. You think we're like best friends just because of that cultural history. I'm saying
Hmm.
just
And this is with other black people.
yes, other black people. I'm saying who are homeless. But I would say also with that, for me, it's been also sad, seeing people out here who are struggling. I would say, for example, 2 weeks ago, I did 3 calls interviews with 3 black women,
Okay.
40, 63, 64. Um, and two weren't from the Bay Area. They came here. One came here with her son. Her husband, with some drama and BS, came here with her son. The other one came here with her kids. And then the last one, she came here with her 4 kids. And just, hearing their stories. And the one, she had her kids there with her. I got sad and upset because also with, they me feeling like it's my duty to go out here and give light to their stories. At times it could be a burden, because I internalize all their energy. So I would just hear, their trajectory. Like one woman was a lawyer, another one had her own business, and things happened in their life, and they kind of lost it all.
Hmm.
They were out here on the streets. When trying to get services, they'll often be neglected, turned away. Um,
And do you feel that their situation would have been different if they were of another racial group?
Definitely.
So you see that a lot.
Definitely. Definitely. They tell me this. They tell me this themselves. I see it myself, but they tell me this too. And sometimes the people will be on some BS, like, oh, this happens and stuff. No, but they give me concrete examples of how it happens. So they will be in a shelter somewhere, somewhere that's transitional. When you get there, it's supposed to be temporary, and then they are supposed to provide you with stable housing long term. These people will tell me, these black women and black men will tell me that people who are white and Latino, Latinx, that was surprising. But those two were the biggest ones that would get picked over people who are black to get housing. And a lot of the providers out there were not black. A lot of them were Latinx or white. So the black people that I talked to, they felt like there was some preferential treatment from those to their own people. So there's a few times where a black person I was talking to would tell me they could have been somewhere in this housing. It's supposed to be 3 months tops. They've been there for a year. But someone who's white or Latinx will come and they'll be gone in 2 months towards housing, towards getting stable housing.
And what is the justification for that? Like, do case managers or, these site directors, like, is there any sort of call to action about the preferential treatment which you've seen and people have disclosed and shared with you?
I mean, so I see this from two lenses. On one hand, I get it, because if I were a case manager out here in these places, I would definitely try to get my people a house more than others.
Right.
That's what it is. I'm saying I would. I know others would probably be like, oh, it's not fair, but black people are one of the most historically marginalized when it comes to homelessness. Our numbers are not reciprocal of our population out here in California or the U.S. as a whole. Also, on the other hand, I do believe in fairness and justness. That's what drives me, as a man. So it's not right, especially when these systems, they have guidelines to follow. If someone's here for this amount of time, they're supposed to be at the forefront of getting services in-house, but they aren't. So that's not right. And then they can see it.
Yeah.
It's not like they're being like coy with it or sly or being sneaky.
Audacious behavior.
They can see it. The people I talk to, they can see it.
I want to just touch on some of the experience that you shared with me about your background in criminal justice and how that also was one of the not the determining factors, but an impetus that led you to staying in this career path. So what, as a student, did you see, and as a practitioner or a researcher, what do you continue to see, if it at all is the same thing?
As far as criminal justice, it's just a never-ending cycle. I will see mostly black men, also black women. But my experience is being mostly black men that I come across out here in the area.
Mm-hmm.
So they would do something. Some of it is justified, as far as them being sent to jail. They do the crime, do the time. Also, some of it was unjust. Like, they did something, but so small, and that someone who are white or non-black would do it, would probably get a look over. If they do it, they'll get this.
So rhetorically, throw the book at you.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And then they would get out. But when they get out, the whole point of going to jail is to hopefully be restored, to give these people who did a crime the chance, opportunity to recreate themselves, to move past what they've done wrong. So that way, when they get out, they can be productive members of society. That's not the case.
Is it because there are no services for that, or
no services for that? Largely, I would say here in the Bay Area, there is some, but not as many as it could or should be, or they're not really that accessible. Because when you get out, you're let out back to the world. But that's it. No one's there unless your family to greet you, saying, "Okay, now we're gonna help you get back into society." You've been gone for 2, 3, 4, 5+ years. That's a long time. You miss out on a lot.
Yeah.
And
It's a whole lifetime, basically.
Your whole neighborhood could
The
change.
whole
your
world can
family
change. I mean, we've been in a pandemic for what, 3 years?
In the past 2 years, it's changed so much.
The entire world.
I'm almost like,
It's
oh my
changed.
goodness. If I was gone locked up for 3+ years, I can imagine I'll have a hard time coming back.
Yeah.
So they come out here to this new world, but there's no help to get them accustomed to it. So then, what happens? They go back to what they know. Do another crime, back to jail. At least in jail, they know how it is already, know how it's run, know how to move in there and navigate through there. It's like already. It's comfortable, sadly.
You spoke to a cycle about you do the crime, you do the time, then you get out. There's no services for you to be rehabilitated, and then you go back in because you know that. And then you get out and you do it again. And you do it again. So it's a whole cycle. And as someone who does research in the field and people are very transparent with you about their experiences and being a part of not only the community that's experiencing chronic homelessness, but also the community that continues to go through the revolving door of the judicial system. What do you think of the future of this area? And I say this area because we're currently in one of the more affluent regions of Oakland. But as far as the Bay Area as a whole, do you see things getting better for the city, things getting better for Black people experiencing homelessness, or do you think we're too far gone? Like, how do you feel about that?
I don't think we're too far gone. To solve homelessness, I see is rather simple. Get people housing. Get people who are from their same community to be reflected in these services. So that way they're more likely to want to go through with these and get help. People that look like them.
Yeah.
So I'll say that. But that's theoretical. In reality, I do not see things getting better anytime soon. There is a cycle where people in politicians, officials from government, they will make a big deal out of homelessness, make all the noise. Oh, this is a problem, we should tackle it. We're going to fund this for research, ha 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 ha, to give us the same answers we've known for the past 60+ years. We're going to find out this new thing about homelessness we haven't already discovered in the past 60+ years. With all this noise, all this hype, all this funding, but people are still out here. Homelessness has gotten worse during COVID. The rates from what I'm seeing going throughout California now have gone up. In some cities or counties, crazy. Almost double.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And we've had all this noise and hype around homelessness and funding it and end it by 2030. And we're in 2022 now. And our places is almost doubled from just last year and 2 years ago. Ridiculous.
That's real.
So I don't see things changing anytime soon. I think the government, they profit off of homelessness to a very large degree. So I don't think they have any incentive to end it. So I think from that as well. But from the lens of people that I've been talking to, they feel the exact same way.
Yeah. Okay.
They told me this with their words. Things aren't changing anytime soon. So they learn to accept being homeless or unhoused or unsheltered.
Well, Trey, I personally just want to thank you for spending some time and just sharing from your expertise in research and just getting out there and being a positive movement in yourself, you know, just to really amplify the voices of the Black experience. Like the whole purpose of Tears of the Golden City is not to silence the experiences of other people, but to amplify the Black voice, which is often lost in everybody else's story. So, my brother, I appreciate you. I thank you for doing what you do.
My pleasure,
And more power to you, man. Thank you so much.